This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report for this Thursday morning. Welcome back, Jeff Carl. Jeff Carl and Seth Merrow in here. We'll take a look at Aqueduct and Churchill Downs for this afternoon. Welcome back.
Oh, good to be back. Had a little extended vacation. It took a little bit longer than we anticipated. We had gone down to the Outer Banks of North Carolina to visit our friends at the Corolla Wild Horse Fund. They managed and preserved some wild horses there. I wasn't able to go down this spring when they had the charity event. They canceled it. So we wanted to go down and say hello to everybody down there. On the way home, we stopped at our daughter's house in Maryland, and our transmission blew on the way back. So we ended up having an extended stay down there, but it's good to be back. Thank you to yourself and to Anthony for covering for me, your understanding. And, you know, I got to run into an old friend of mine at the Wegmans supermarket in Columbia, Alan Stacy, former jockey. We ran into each other. Hadn't seen each other probably 10 or 12 years. So later on Monday night, I got to spend some time with him. We got caught up, told some war stories, had a good time.
Very good. Get out to the track at all?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Well, I didn't have a car. So.
Oh, right. Yeah, that makes it tough, man. No question about it. And the wild, is that the island with the wild horses?
Yes, it is. Yes,
oh,
it's just north of Kitty Hawk. It's a tremendous, outstanding place. They do a fabulous job. We had a nice tour up there. Got to see the wild horses. They actually had a foal born a couple days ago, which is very late in the year for
in the wild. Do they go out and assist?
No, they're in the wild. Oh, they're in the wild.
How many horses?
They have between 100 and 110.
And what's the history on those?
They have been there for 500 years. They are direct descendants of the Spanish explorers that came over here. There was a shipwreck out in the waters, and these horses swam ashore. And at one point, there was 10,000 of them roaming the Outer Banks of North Carolina. And now there's just over 100. So it's very important that this organization, the Corolla Wild Horse Fund, preserves and protects them to keep them. They're part of American history.
Right, interesting. Is it a tourist place, or do they keep people away from the horses?
Well, they're up now into what they call the four-wheel drive area. They're not in like the real commercial place. There's plenty of houses back there. Most of them are, there's people that actually live up in there.
Really?
The only way you can get up there is to have a four-wheel drive. But that's where they are. They're on 7,000 acres that they roam. So there's like 110 horses. So when you go back there for a tour, it's very fortunate when you see some of them.
Do they stick together, or they are?
No, they have. What they do is, they're wild, and they establish their groups, their harems. One stallion might have 5 or 6. Some might not have any. And the
lone wolves.
The lone wolves. The bachelors. The ones that have to prove themselves to get married. But it's very intriguing. It's quite captivating.
Yeah, I've seen stories and newspaper articles about it and whatnot. It looks very interesting. All right, some news from the past day. Javier Castellano went down in a spill after the last race yesterday. Was taken to the hospital complaining of some chest pain. That's the latest I'd seen. But Jeff, you picked up some Twitter info that gave a better prognosis.
Yeah, Dave Lipp from the Daily Racing Forum, he tweeted last night that Javier Castellano is 50-50 to ride today. He is a definite for tomorrow. So as of right now, I haven't seen anything. I'll keep my eye on it as we're going along to see, because I know he's named on many horses with chances on today's card. So we'll keep an eye on it. But as of right now, that's all that I know.
Yeah, keep that in mind, though.
I mean, it's nothing serious. It happened after the last race that they're galloping out. The horse stumbled. I didn't see it, but I'm assuming the horse probably rolled over him, and that hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of which, and we talked about this right after it happened, Jockey Calvin Burrell, now going to miss pretty much the remainder of 2013. He's going to aim for Oaklawn. He fractured the fibula on October 24th out at Keeneland, and you and I talked about it the next day. They were essentially looking at a comeback within like 3 weeks or something. And I said at the time, Calvin's not a young guy. You get a broken bone, that seems really optimistic. And it turns out he'll need a little more time on the sidelines.
Yeah, probably be safe than sorry to come back too early. And actually, as I'm looking at my Twitter feed, it was retweeted from Matt Musiker, Javier Castellano's agent. He is not riding today, but he will ride tomorrow. So we have that update. And, they're getting dinged up right now. I mean, Johnny Velasquez is out.
We talked a little bit about earlier this week, Anthony and I. Rosie Napravnik missed a few days early in the Churchill meet. She was there opening day, and I came in the next day and said, boy, I wouldn't be surprised if she was sore, because opening day at Churchill, coming out of the gate, she came out of the saddle, still holding onto the horse, but was on the side of the horse, and the next horse came over, and they both, and you have a couple of 1,200-pound horses put you in the vise,
yeah,
and then she crumpled to the ground, and subsequently I think she walked off. So she was okay. But then there was a few days, and it was never explained, but I'm sure it was probably sore to get that, when they come together like that and you're in the middle.
Yeah, and when the adrenaline wears off, that's when you really start to feel it as the next, later on that day, or especially the next morning. Sometimes you don't know the extent. I mean, the last bill I ever went down, I got up and I thought, I'm fine, I'll ride tomorrow. I woke up the next day, there was no chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
And subsequently she's come back, but it was just interesting because I said the next day, boy, that had to, I'm thinking that's worse than it appeared, because the two horses came right together and looked like they put her in the accordion a little bit, and subsequently she did take some time off. Also wanted to mention yesterday, a horse we'll keep our eyes on, and coming up on Racing Across America, I'll pull up the stretch horn for you. But there was a first-time starter. I like the handicap at Aqueduct yesterday. First-time starter from Christophe Clement on the grass Summer Solo. Keep your eyes on that one, because down the last eighth of a mile, Summer Solo had to come from out of it, and it just looked like Summer Solo was a different kind of animal as the after jets were turned on and passed the field very nicely. As I say, I'll pull up the stretch run on Racing Across America next, but definitely that was a first-time starter from Clement, gets the job done, but one to keep our eyes on going forward.
Absolutely, and Christophe is just, it seems like the last couple of years you can't ignore his first-time starters. In the past, you're thinking, well, they might need a race or two, but now they can win first time out quite easily.
And they were making the same point in the pre-race show. Andy Serling, Maggie Wolfendale, they all said the same thing.
Yeah.
The Christophe Clement first-time starters on the grass are a potent powerhouse to keep your eyes on. 7-2 on the morning line, and wound up going off, I've forgotten, but like 4-5, something. So the betting public is kind of clued in, unfortunately, I guess, if you were looking for that 7-2. All right, as noted, a little later on, Jeff's going to take a look at Aqueduct. I'm going to kick things off for this Thursday morning, taking a look at the afternoon card at Churchill Downs.
The opener is 6 furlongs. It is a starter allowance for 3 and up, which has started for a claiming price of $10,000 or less since May 1st of 2012.
I have it 3, 5, 4, and 1. The number 3 is Be Brave. Goes out for Mike Maker and Ken and Sarah Ramsey. They claimed this one 2 starts back for $20,000. Subsequently ran the horse back for $40,000. I think is very well spotted at the starter 10 level. The first start off the claim when they bumped from 20 to 40 was a nice third place finish. But again, I think at this 10 allowance, starter allowance, very cozily spotted in here. Be Brave on top. Second spot, we'll go with Froggyville, the number 5 horse. Come alive the last 2 starts, and that's been since the claim. So maybe the change of barn was just a little bit of a wake-up call, and they've kind of figured this horse out. 1 first off the claim, a decent 4th place finish in an optional 40, non-winners of 2 last time when the horse wasn't in for a tag. Another one that I think is going to fit nicely in this particular condition, and again, seems in some good form right now. Third spot, we'll use the number 1, Kitty's Turn, just kind of a pace angle in here. I think this could be the speed and certainly will be sent from the rail post position. So as I say, a little bit of a pace situation for me. Number 2, Sunday Mass. I have a number of horses today where I was kind of scratching my head. No workout showing underneath. So when you're looking for some of these horses and you're looking for maybe a little bit of help, hey, they have a little spring in their step in the morning perhaps, in a week or 2 prior to the race. You're getting no clues. As I say, I found a strange number of probably 4 or 5 on the card today with no works, but Sunday Mass not in my mix here. I have it 3, 5, 1, and 4.
That's going to take us to the second race at Churchill Downs. It's 7 furlongs. It's a claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward. They're in for a claiming price of $5,000.
Weak field in here, but I have it 6, 8, 4, and 2. The number 6 is Muhaseb. I just think this is one of those that is clearly the best on the recent numbers. You look at the 70 buyer figures over the past 2 starts. Those were over at Indiana, but I think the Indiana form is translating nicely over to Churchill Downs. So again, the last 2 numbers just give this horse a little bit of an edge in here. 6 on top, second spot, the number 8, Hometown Legend. Has shown some flashes that certainly would be good enough in here, but, you know, perhaps a little bit inconsistent. We go back down the page, a fourth, a second, couple of fourths, another second, a win, a second. So again, you look back over the past 6 races or so, 3 nice starts, 3 okay starts. So again, we're hoping for one of the better efforts, and if we do get one of the better efforts, Hometown Legend absolutely fits with this bunch. Third spot, the number 4, Our Noble Heart. Good race last time when in for this particular $5,000 tag. Was in a starter 5 last time. I think that's much saltier than the claiming tag of $5,000. 2 starts back, an optional claimer starter allowance that was probably a little bit tougher, but 3 starts back right here at Churchill in the September meet had a win for the $5,000 tag. However, another one of the horses on the card today that is showing no workouts underneath, but did race fairly recently, November 1st. So again, I think the fitness isn't as much of a question here. So for me, in race number 2, 6, 8, 4, and 2.
Moving along to the third race at Churchill Downs today. It is 1 mile. It is a claiming event for 3 and up. They're in for a claiming price of $25,000.
And I got to manipulate my program here. We've talked about it before since the Daily Racing Forum put out the new mini version. They still have not solved the problem of parsing out where the things go. So in the middle of this third race, I got to switch about 20 pages to get to the last couple of horses in here, but I've got it marked and I think I'll be able to handle it. 5, 4, 7, and 1. The number 5 on top for me, Sun Bear. Just missed in a similar race, 2 starts back. Nice 89 buyer figure. Then went over to Indiana Downs and threw in a real clunker. Had some trouble there, some traffic trouble. It was a sloppy sealed track. I think the return to Churchill Downs will put Sun Bear right up in the mix, and that 6-1 morning line looks very generous to me. Second spot, the number 4, Awesome Bet. Just seems to perhaps found a home at the $25,000 level. You go down the page, the buyer figures here are absolutely going to fit with this bunch. Dropped down to a 25 optional claimer, non-winners that won last time and won, as I say, may just be in the comfort zone for the $25,000 tag. And then we'll go to the number 7, Small Town Talk. Get some class relief in here, plus a return to dirt after starting on the synthetic over at Keeneland last time. I think the combination of both of those is going to get the local native Chuck Simon up in the mix today with Small Town Talk. So in the third at Churchill, 5, 4, 7, and 1.
That's going to take us to the fourth race at Churchill Downs. It is 1 mile and 16th, another claiming event. This one for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 2 races, and they're in for a claiming price of $7,500.
6, 9, 7, and 8. The number 6 is Run Kitten Run. Why not? Mike Maker, Ken Sarah Ramsey. I think this horse returns to the proper level. Broke the maiden for a $7,500 tag. 2 starts back over at Ellis. Followed that up for a $20,000 open claiming tag last time over at Keeneland. Now drops in for $7,500 today and a $7,500 conditional, non-winners at 2. So again, the right price, and I think the condition where Run Kitten Run is absolutely going to be potent in here. Number 9, Majestic Shoes in the second spot. A very dangerous drop for this one, and one that raises some question marks, obviously. You look over the last few races, 30 tag, 25 tag, couple of allowance races. So dropping in for $7,500 today is either going to be a comfort zone where this horse wins by a block, or all the wheels won't be on and this horse will run up the track. It's one of those drops that certainly raises some red flags, but I had to put it in the mix on the class relief. And then the third spot, Ariadna, the number 7 horse. I think this horse is capable of competing with this particular bunch. You just look at the rest of this field. I think Run Kitten Run maybe has a little bit of an edge, maybe even Majestic Shoes. As I say, there's some question marks there, but then you look at the rest of this field and Ariadna is absolutely going to be up in the hunt with this bunch. In the 4th, 6, 9, 7, and 8.
Yeah, number 9, Majestic Shoes, trained by Tim Ice of Summerbird fame. Like you said, when they drop down like that,
Yeah, you just
you
don't
know,
know.
and sometimes you don't know, but you know what? They do like to win. But if they're going to lose them, they like to win also. So they might be looking at it as, dipping in there a couple times, getting the winner's share and hopefully, getting the horse taken. So
Yeah, it's
I
always
think always got to throw them in your mix.
adds a piece to the puzzle, but yeah, I usually toss them in because they can win by a block or they can lose by a block, and you just don't know.
Moving along to the Churchill Downs 5th race. It is 1 mile, another claiming event. Fillies and mares 3 and up. They're in for a claiming price of $16,000.
1, 2, 5, and 9. The number 1 is Fast Bobby J. Just seems to be in some pretty good form right now. First off the claim for Steve Asmussen. That's always a good angle. Not only first off the claim for trainer Steve Asmussen, but owner Steve Asmussen as well. So maybe there'll be some extra impetus here. But uncoupled half of, or the other half of the uncoupled entries, the number 2, Buana Babe, also goes out for Asmussen. Ran well here 2 starts back, then went over to Indiana. Didn't run poorly, but it was up a little bit class-wise. Now drops back down to the same level that this horse ran well for here back in September. Buana Babe is going to be also in the mix for me. 3rd spot, the number 5, Extract. Traffic trouble in a similar race 2 starts back over here at Churchill Downs and was in fact behind both Buana Babe and Fast Bobby J. So we'll throw that one into the mix here. And I'm going to do a little 3-horse exacta box in this race using the 2 Asmussen horses and tossing Extract into the mix as well. So again, 3-horse exacta box in the 5th at Churchill. 1, 2, 5, and 9.
And there you have it. Set selections for races 1 through 5 at Churchill Downs. That's going to take us to our first break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's Churchill Downs card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV network.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thank you for joining us on this chilly Thursday morning in the Capital District here in upstate New York. Before the break, Seth gave you his selections for Churchill races 1 through 5. We're going to move along to race number 6. It is a 1 1/16. It is a maiden special weight event for 2-year-olds.
And I will say this, I have a 2, 3, 10, and 11, but I find virtually all of the AEs dangerous if they scratch in. The number 12, first time starter by Dynaformer. Number 13, 3rd time out of the box by Tail of the Cat. There's some win early there. Kilted Cowboy by More Than Ready. Again, I find all of the AEs very dangerous. Take a second look at them if one or more scratches in. But I have a 2, 3, 10, and 11. The number 2, Wall Street Kitten, Wayne Catalano, Ken and Sarah Ramsey. First time out of the box by Kitten's Joy. I think there's enough nature and nurture here to think this one is going to be well met. I don't know whether we'll get that 8-1 that you're seeing on the morning line. Second spot, the number 3, That's It, I'm Leaving. Third time out of the box for trainer Steve Margolis. But career debut was on the turf. It was pretty good. Second start was a race moved off the turf. It was still a pretty good finishing position, but the buyer figure dipped significantly. But I think the return to turf, maybe even a little bit of a stretch out here, will be beneficial. This is a horse by Stormy Atlantic out of a Lemon Drop Kid mayor. So I think, again, return to grass is going to bounce this horse back closer to that buyer figure we saw in the career debut. And then in the third spot, the number 10, Tropic of Artie. 4 career starts so far up in Woodbine. I think pretty much the 2 maiden races were very, very competitive. And right around those maiden races, a couple of stakes efforts. Maybe they got a little ambitious in those. The summer stakes finished 5th behind the very talented My Conquistadori. But as I say, the 2 maiden starts were very, very competitive and near misses. So I think this horse is spotted right where he belongs today. So for me, 2, 3, 10, and 11. But as I say, if those AEs scratch in, take a second look.
You know, and Seth, I've always felt that the buyers don't transfer from track to track as well as you would want them to. You know, that horse that you mentioned, Ray, in the Kentucky Downs, then Indiana. I know when I was stabled at in Maryland, if we took a horse to, say, a Charlestown or a Penn National, their buyers always drop drastically. Even though they ran well and ran, similar to the way they ran in Maryland, just going to a smaller racetrack. For instance, I had a horse that was a multiple stake winner in Maryland, always ran upper 90 buyers. We went to run in the Pennsylvania Governor's Cup, which at the time was a mile and a 16th, and he finished a real good third. Speed never came back, and they ran a freaky time. I mean, mile and 16th in like 140 or something, 139, and he came back with an 83 buyer. He got beat 2 lengths. It didn't make sense. And even the horses that finished 1-2, same thing. They were always in the 90 buyers everywhere they run, upper 90s, and all of a sudden they're like mid-80s when they go to Penn National.
We actually talked about that earlier this week when we were doing the Handicappers Report, because I was looking at horses. I believe it was Fort Erie to Finger Lakes maybe, or when I was doing Finger Lakes, there was a horse coming in from a circuit, and I said, it's hard to know unless you start to get a barometer, because I think some of the smaller tracks, I think there's somebody out there doing the buyers that maybe is working on their own standard, and it's just a little bit different perhaps. And once you get a little barometer, you can get a feel for it. But some of the smaller tracks, I often feel, and we talked about this earlier this week, the whole point of the buyers it was supposed to give you a number that was going to transfer from track to track to track, and you could depend on it. And I just think it's the fact that there's some art, there's some science to it, and I think you have somebody out there at these smaller tracks who, as I say, maybe started from a different standard, and so their numbers are either a little bit higher or a little bit lower, and you have to wait and see some of those horses moving to the bigger tracks to kind of get a barometer on where you should put those numbers. But I do think the smaller tracks, sometimes the numbers are a little bit dicey.
All right, let's move along to the Churchill Downs 7th race, 6.5 furlongs. It is a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 3 races. They're in for a claiming price of $15,000 down to $10,000.
5, 7, 10, and 4. The number 5 is Lost Decade. Good second at this price level last time. It was beaten by over 6 lengths, but field of 8 ran second, was the favorite that day. I think this horse potentially has the shot to bounce back. It is Chris Richard, Midwest Thoroughbreds. I find this trainer very interesting. Over the past 6 months or so, I've been watching him doing very well early at this Churchill meet. So Lost Decade on top for me. Second spot, we'll go with the number 7, Kid Twist. 8-1 on the morning line. Moves up class-wise, and that may be the reason behind the morning line price. But I just think this horse is going to be a decent fit with this bunch. So I'll take that 8-1 and put this one in the mix. Third spot, we are going to go out to the number 10. Number 10 is Short Story Long, and pace playing here. Just a speed kind of a play. Goes out for Tommy Amos. I think this will be the one that tries to take the lead. Going to have to do a little work early from that 10 post position. But again, it is a pace angle in here. It looks like this is the horse that will probably be making the pace. There's a couple of others in here that have a little bit of potential, but I think that one's the speed of the speed. So in the 7th race today, 5, 7, 10, and 4.
That's going to take us to the 8th race at Churchill Downs. It is 1 mile. It is a claiming event for 3 and up, which have never won 2 races. They're in for a claiming price of $15,000 down to $10,000.
2, 10, 4, and 3. The number 2 is Great Call. Great Call. Might take them all the way with some class relief. As in the last race, this is a speed play, and this horse looks to even have a little more potent angle on the speed with the drop from the maiden special weight win last time in for a 15 non-winners, a 2 tag today. Now, that race last time was over at Mountaineer, but had raced prior to that at Churchill. Maiden 35 and showed some speed there and faded. but we're cutting back in distance. I think maybe the last race was perhaps a light bulb moment after 9 career starts. That's what I'm hoping. But I think class-wise and with the speed, this horse could be really interesting today. Great call on top. Second spot, we'll go out to the number 10, Thingamajigger. Steve Asmussen, for owner Steve Asmussen, claimed last time, up off the claim. But I think if you look down the past performances, you can see this horse has been competitive at this price level before. So it could be a very, very crafty claim for Mr. Asmussen. And in the third spot, Astronomer, the number 4 horse. Buyer figures are moving in the right direction. Broke through last time, and I think seems improved. Like my top pick, long time in the maiden ranks. Seems like perhaps the light bulb is turned on over the last 1 or 2 starts. And Astronomer, I think, has the potential to string a couple of good ones together off of that last start. 8th race today at Churchill Downs. 2, 10, 4, and 3.
That's going to take us to the 9th race at Churchill. It is 1 mile, and we're moving to the turf course. It's an entry-level allowance race for fillies and mares 3 and up.
10, 9, 6, and 7. The number 10 is Bustle. Goes out for Mike Maker and Ken and Sarah Ramsey. Looking for them to have a pretty good day today, as is typical for those connections. But this one, Bustle, past couple of starts, nice improving buyer figures. Those are 2 starts off the claim, 3 starts back for very crafty claiming connections. I think the win last time shows that this horse is in very good form. That was at a 50 claiming level over at Keeneland. Ran in an allowance race at Kentucky Downs prior to that. I think this horse is well spotted in here today, and it is in very good form for very good connections. Al's Rosie, the number 9 horse in the second spot. Again, the buyer figure's moving in the right direction, so it looks like we're in some pretty good form right now and moving in the right direction as far as the form cycle is concerned. So Al's Rosie, I expect to run very well this afternoon. And then the number 6, Abbey Street. Buyer figures are perhaps a little bit light for this one, but very lightly raced over the past couple of months. Going back to late spring, in fact. Had a start on June 15th, then a start in August at Saratoga, and then October 6th at Keeneland. So only 3 starts since, as I say, late spring. Now has strung a couple together at Saratoga, and then better part of a month and a half at Keeneland. And now, again, we're about a month and a half out. But I think this is probably within the realm of a situation where you could say stringing them together. And I think if you look back towards April at Keeneland and Churchill Downs, there are some buyer figures in there that say this horse can be competitive with perhaps what I'm hoping is a fitness level that will show a little bit of improvement for Abbey Street. So that's going to be the game plan here. We're hoping now stringing a few together, this horse can step forward and get to the better numbers that she is able to shoot. In the 9th today at Churchill, 10, 9, 6, and 7.
And we'll wrap it up with the 10th at Churchill Downs at 6 furlongs. It's a claiming event for 3 and up, which have not won a race in a year, in 2013, and they're in free claim price of $5,000.
I'm going to do another play of the day in here, just box up my top 2. I'm not sure what the value is going to be. We got 8 to 5 and 5 to 2, and I think those prices will be there, or maybe even float down, because the 2 I have, just to me, look like the clear top 2 in this field. So I'm going to box up my top 2, 11, 9, 12, and 6. The number 11 is Can You Let Me Down Easy? Just a clear edge on the buyer numbers. I've said it before, sometimes you jump into a race and horses just clearly are the best on the numbers. That's the case with Can You Let Me Down Easy. Has the edge. Now comes in from Hawthorne in Indiana, Canterbury, Keeneland, going back the last 4 races. So how will those tracks numbers stack up here? I think, because we have Keeneland in the mix and Indiana, as I say, the horses coming over from Indiana have been doing okay. I think this horse is going to be very competitive here and gets a serious class drop as well. That maybe raises some concerns, but I think off the last couple of starts, this horse seems to be in some decent form, and it has to look to me like they're maybe shopping for a winning effort. Can You Let Me Down Easy, as I say, clearly looks to have the edge on these, but Bullsaboy, the number 9 horse, has a clear edge on the rest of the field. I think this one's clearly second best. Nice 3rd place finish in a similar race last time. And as compared to the rest of the field, I think Bullseye clearly second best. So my top two just have an edge on this field. I'll box them up, the 11 and the 9. Third spot will go to the number 12, Whitewood Indian. I just end up here by default. And now, this horse has been off since December of last year, and it's hard to have too much confidence in a horse at the 5,000 level off a long layoff like that. But as I say, once you get past the top two, it just became a little bit of a roll of the dice. So just by default, I kind of wound up on Whitewood Indian, but I don't have an argument if folks are going to shop around in another direction as they put together maybe tries or supers in the race. But in the 10th at Churchill Downs this afternoon, I have it 11, 9, 12, and 6.
And there you have all of Seth's selections for today's Churchill Downs program. We're going to go to our next break. When we come back, I'll give you my picks for today's Aqueduct card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2013 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2014 National Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month, the Capital Cup on December 7th. So sign up today online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook. And don't forget our Showviver series, Capital OTB's online handicapping contest. Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Listen to what people are saying about the Clubhouse Racebook.
I've been coming here for well over 30 years to the OTB, and I think this is an outstanding facility. Probably comparable to something you'd see in Vegas. They have the big screens there, and then they have the auxiliary screens for, watching all the tracks. And the primary tracks of the day, they'll switch to the big screens, which is ideal for most of us race guys. We like to see the big races on the big screen. Well done.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report for this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl. We'll take a look now at Aqueduct. I just wrapped up Churchill Downs, but down on the NYRA circuit for this afternoon, the Aqueduct opener is a maiden special weight event. These are fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, going 6.5.
And they are fast and firm at Aqueduct today. And as we reported a little bit earlier in the show, Javier Castellano will not ride today. His agent, Matt Musiker, has tweeted out that he will not ride today, but he will ride tomorrow. So as we said, he's just a little banged up after being unseated from his horse yesterday after the last race. So obviously it wasn't too bad, but I'm sure he's a little bit sore today. And you know what, as we go through the card, we'll see. As of right now, we don't know what change of riders will be made. But you know what, Seth, sometimes it might work out in your favor. If you're getting a very capable rider, maybe your horse will float up a little bit and give you a little bit more of a price. So I wouldn't try to talk you off anything that Javier Castellano was named on today with another rider, as long as you get a good, solid rider. Maybe you get a couple extra points. So in the opener today, I'm going to go 3, 5, and 2. It's number 3, Giant Fable. Firster by Giant's Causeway, coming out of the John Kimmel barn, and this is a homebred. So they wanted to keep this one the whole time. And, just a very, very good series of solid works leading up to her debut. John Kimmel, when I see good works underneath him, and they first time out, I'm not afraid to go there. And he is 8-1. It did attract the services of Joel Rosario, so that kind of took my eyes to Giant Fable. So I'm going to take a shot with that first-time starter on top, the number 3 Giant Fable. For second, I'll go with number 5, Aliana. She is the logical morning line favorite. She's had 2 starts. She's had 2 seconds, but she's been favored both times. She was entered yesterday. Didn't run, so she will run today, and she should prove to be a tough customer coming into this race with a bullet work. Again, 2 seconds, 2 starts, but she has been favored both times and hasn't gotten it done. So I definitely have to throw her in the mix, but I'm going to take a little bit of a shot with a first-time starter on top, the number 3. So I have a 3, 5, and then the number 2, Katie's Garden, is my third choice. She was third behind Aliana in her career debut, and that was on October 24th. Trained by John Shears. So she's eligible to improve a little bit today. She got beat a little bit less than 5 lengths, kind of ran evenly. So you'd have to think, with that race under her belt, Alex Solis rode her that day. He's going to ride her again today. I got to throw in the mix. 3, 5, and 2 in the Aqueduct opener for me.
Second race at Aqueduct this afternoon, a maiden claiming about $20,000 tags. These are 2-year-old fillies. They will go 6 furlongs.
And if you watch me here in the Handicappers Report, you know I really like first-time starters in these maiden claiming events because I don't think you have to be a world beater to get the job done. I'm going to go 5, 2, and 12 here. The number 5, Tuberose or Tuberose, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but this is a first-time starter by Candy Ride coming out of the Belmont barn, putting her right in for the 20,000. She's got a couple bullet works up at Saratoga on October 24th and October 30th. I know there's not a big population of horses in Saratoga that time of the year, but still, she was 1 out of 11 and 1 out of 10. Those are pretty decent moves. Then they moved her down to Belmont, just gave her a little maintenance work to come into this race. I like the 6-1 for maiden 20,000. You're getting Belmont, you're getting Jose Lezcano. If that 6-1 holds up, I really like Tuberose on top here. For second, I will go with the number 2, Asserted. Asserted's making her 4th career start. Her first 2 were at Calder in the maiden special weight, and then she came up to New York, ran at Belmont on the turf for maiden 50, was a distant 3rd that day. So obviously, she handled the Calder main track okay, especially in her first start where she was 3rd. So you know what, the switch back to the dirt doesn't bother me at all, especially being a daughter of Flower Alley. And again, just that drop down, I think, throws her in the mix. And for third, I'll go with the number 12, Holly's Sister, out toward the outside. She's going to be exiting the same race as Asserted on October 9th, and that was her career debut. She didn't show anything that day, but that kind of, as our colleague Anthony likes to say, looked like practice to me. So again, she wasn't bet that day. She just kind of ran nice and evenly. She ran on the turf for 50,000. She's by Golden Missile out of a Tactical Cat, so there's no turf pedigree whatsoever. So that does kind of scream out that maybe it just was a practice run for her. Now she's at a better level, and at 12 to 1, let's throw her in the mix. 5, 2, and 12 in the Aqueduct second race.
Race number 3 this afternoon, an optional claimer starter allowance at the $16,000 level. These are 3-year-olds and up. They will go the 1-turn mile.
9, 7, and 1 here. The number 9, Dolly, finally got into the winner's circle. Was 0 for 2013 coming into his last start on November 1st. I made the comment that day that, Rudy Rodriguez claimed this horse for $15,000 last December. And although he had not won a race with this horse throughout 2013 to that last race, Seth, still compiled well over $100,000. So maybe the wins weren't there, but the bottom line was pretty darn good, and that makes your owners happy. But you know what? Dolly's race last time was nice. He got a really nice setup and was able to run him down. Angel Arroyo rode him that day. Going to get the call back, and again, I think he'll get that good setup. He's posted to her on the outside, so I think he'll be able to sit right off the speed and be able to mow him down late. He's getting a little bit of extra distance today, too. So, you know what? He was 0 for 2013 coming into last year. Let's say I think he can do it again, make his second win of this year. I put the number 9, Dolly, on top. For second, I'm going to go with the number 7, Most Happy Fella. Most Happy Fella likes to be on the pace or making the pace. There's plenty other speed in the race, and it seems to me that, going 2 turns, he's more apt to be on the lead. And today, with Alex Solis aboard going the 1-turn mile with other speed in the race, I think they'll probably be content to kind of be sitting right off of it. And at 10 to 1, I'll throw them in the mix because I'm thinking that some other horses might knock themselves out. And for third, I'll go with the number 1, Point Taken. I expect Point Taken to be sent out of the 1 post. He has shown speed throughout his career. And ridden by Manny Esquivel, the Bug Boy. One thing you tell Bug Boys, you got speed, you just go, son. So 9, 7, and 1 in the Belmont third race.
Fourth race at Aqueduct this afternoon, maiden special weight event. These are 3-year-olds and up, scheduled for the grass, 1.16 miles.
Seth, I thought this was a really, really fun race. I left off a couple horses I'll mention that I thought really, you could put in there. I mean, there's several horses in here. A fun race. I'm going 11, 10, and 8. The number 11, Secret Bid. Well, this is a son of Inside Information. It was a decent little mare for Chuck McKay in the Phipps stable. And, Secret Bid, her son here made just a quantum leap improvement, returning from a year layoff in his last start on October 9th. His first start last year, he showed absolutely nothing on the dirt. Had a year off for whatever reasons, I'm not exactly sure. He was 35-1 that day with Phil Teeter aboard, and he really ran a very solid third. Only got beat 3/4 of a length, kind of battling it out throughout the race. And you know what? Right now, if you had Joel Rosario on this horse instead of Phil Teeter, you're probably going to see, 2 or 3-1 in the morning line. Phil's a very capable rider. It's kind of what I talked about earlier with Javier Castellano being off his mount. If you get a very capable rider substitute to him, you might get a few extra points. And you know what? Like I said, Phil Teeter, I used him in Maryland quite a bit. I think he's a very capable rider. Good to see him getting a chance on a Shug McGahee horse with a shot. So if you get that 6-1, it's a very, very competitive race. But you know what? I'm going to put Secret Bid on top. For second, I'll go with the number 10, Boss Man. Again, he ran his eyeballs out in his last race on October 20th, and he was returning from a layoff where he lost his rider in March at Gulfstream Park. So again, he set the pace that day and just gave away grudgingly. Again, he should be much better today. Son of English Channel. He's going to be very tough in here. I had to throw him in the mix. For third, I went with the number 8, Armature. He's going to be exiting the same race as Secret Bid, my top choice. And that was only his second start of his career. He finished 5th that day, beat 3 lengths, stumbled a little bit at the start. So again, his third race of his career, maybe the natural progression, son of Dynaformer. It's all there to really like the turf. Castellano was named aboard, so obviously this horse showed enough talent that they wanted to ride the horse. We'll have to see later who gets the mount. But again, I'm going to put Armature in third. Seth, I mentioned, I left out the number 12. Town Extension, who's had a lot of starts, was second last time. Buddy's Tiz looks interesting to me. Actually, the number 6, Spartiatus, Leon Bluge, which we know he can be a little bit sneaky at times. Blinkers on, hasn't run since late September, but a couple bullet works up at Saratoga. So, it's a really, really fun race. And the unfortunate thing is we're not going to see many more of these. Yeah. I think as we get closer to the intertrack, we're just not going to see an awful lot of these. I went 11, 10, and 8, but it's a lot of fun, this race, and you can go many, many ways, but that's who I have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those races that I'll probably dip into because I think there'll be some value there, and it should be a fun race. Aqueduct's 5th this afternoon, a B-level claimer, $20,000 tags. 3-year-olds and up, they will go 6 furlongs.
I went 2, the 1 entering 11, the number 2, Terrific Trip I put on top. Fits the first part of this condition. He is never won 2 lifetime, dropping down from 35,000, which he ran on September of 26th. He had taken the whole summer off. He was trained by Tony Dutrow, ran at Pimlico in Delaware, broke his maiden at Pimlico, maiden special weight by quite a bit, and then ran pretty decent in an entry-level allowance race at Delaware in his next start. You know what? Maybe something happened. He took the rest of the summer off. Now he's been moved into Rudy Rodriguez's barn. Michael Dubb employs both trainers, but I think just having the benefit of Rudy's outfits right there at Aqueduct, they can train over the track, they can just walk over to the races. I think that makes a little bit of a difference. So I'm going to put the number 2, Terrific Trip, on top. For second, I have the David Jacobson entry of Exporter and Tricky Slam. Exporter fits the second part of the condition, was claimed for $35,000. He's going from turf to dirt. He's going to be shortening up. That's an angle that David employs an awful lot, so he could be there. Tricky Slam, the 1A, finished in front of Terrific Trip, my top choice, 2 back, but his last race wasn't that good, so maybe he's starting to tail off. There's 2 different riders named on both parts of this entry, so they should both run. Castillo is on the 1. Tricky Slam has Manny Esquivel. So again, that's a very formidable entry for David Jacobson. I'll throw him in the mix. And for third, I'm going to go with the number 11, Dreaming of Joey. 15-1 in the morning line. And Dreaming of Joey fits the first part of the condition, the never won 2 life. And this one, again, took the whole summer off. Has only had 2 career starts. Broke his maiden for $25,000 at Gulfstream Park. Very easy, but 9 lengths, was claimed that day. And then they brought him up to Belmont, ran the end of June. Just something must have went wrong because he got beat almost 30 lengths that day. Then henceforth you have the layoff. But you know what? I like horses that do win first time out. So at 15-1, let's throw them in the mix. 2, the 1 entry, 11, and the Aqueduct 5th.
All right, that'll bring us up to our final break. When we come back, we will continue our look at Aqueduct for this afternoon. Stay tuned.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website, you have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
And welcome back. You are watching the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth Merrill and Jeff Carl. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we're happy to be back with you now. Aqueduct 6 race today, an optional claiming event, $25,000 tags. Non-winners are one other than the condition, 1 mile trip.
And none of them in here are in for the $25,000 portion. So I'm going to go 1, 3, and 8. The number 1, My Sparky, my top choice. In case you missed it earlier, the Javier Castellano is off his mounts today. He is named on My Sparky, so we don't have the change of riders yet. So pay attention to that. My Sparky, I put on top. You know, she easily won her previous start, the optional claiming $16,000 level. I think she's going to handle the ride. She's just in very, very excellent form right now. So I'm going to put her on top. For second, I have the number 3, Dreaming of Kara. Dreaming of Kara is coming out of State Bred Stakes. She's run both on the turf and the dirt. She wasn't embarrassed in any of those races. She's still eligible for this condition. Joel Rosario board. Mitch Freeman, I think, does a very, very good job, a little bit under the radar. I'll put Dreaming of Kara in the second spot. And for third, number 8, Tahoe Tigress. She also remains eligible for this race, and she's dropping out of the Saratoga Dew Stakes for State Breds. Hasn't run since August 26th, but she 2 solid State Bred allowance wins before that, 1, 3, and 8 in the Aqueduct 6.
7th race today is a B-level claimer, 25 to 30 tags. They are going a mile on the grass.
I went 9, 8, and 4 here. The number 9, Bartlett's. Bartlett's fits the third part of this condition. Has 18 races to his 18 victories to his 67 race career. This is an 8-year-old. Most of this year he's been at Presque Isle Downs, winning at the $16,000, $25,000 level. He is 1 for 10 lifetime on the turf, and none of those turf races show up in his PPs because it's been a while. But you know what, Seth? I looked at some of the horses that are shorter price in here, and I wasn't really that crazy about them. So if Mike Ferraro wants to bring Bartlett's down and put him back on the turf from Finger Lakes, you know what? At 12 to 1, I'm going to throw Bartlett's on top. Just one of them old classy campaigners. I'll put him on top. For second, I have the number 8, Hailstone. This 6-year-old was graded stakes placed early in his career. But still fits the first part of this condition, the never win 3 portion of it. Is winless this year. Has been racing at Delaware Parks, Presque Isle. And like I said, I mean, if you're not winning there, I mean, the water should be a little bit deeper here. You know, dropping down from the $62,000 level at Belmont last time out. So, you know, you'd think should be in the mix here, but at 3 to 1, you know, like I said, my third choice is the number 4, Avenged, who fits the first part of the condition, has it 1-3 lifetime, trained by your man Jonathan Shepard. Again, solid form at Delaware, but the never win 2 life to $35,000 level. I think they're a little bit easier than they are here at this level in New York, and that one's 4 to 1 in the morning line. So you know what, Seth? I'm going to take a shot with a number 9, 9, 8, and 4 in the Belmont 7.
Race 8, optional claimer, non-winners are one other than they are going 1 mile.
And nobody in here is in for the $25,000 portion. I went 5, 4, and 1. The number 5, Free Ride, was a very nice second, returning from a layoff. Hadn't run since March. Broke his maiden at Parks by a little more than 8 lengths before that in March, and only his second start. And then had a little bit of a break. Came back, like I said, was a very good second behind Confrontation, the Barclay Tag trainee that I think pretty sure he won his first 3 in a row. You know, a nice solid horse to run second behind, coming off a layoff. You'd have to think he benefited a great deal from that race under his belt. Going to be stretching out to the mile distance, but out of a real quiet mare, so I think that's definitely in his scope. So I put Free Ride on top. For second, I have the number 4, Sliver and Onions. Sliver and Onions was given a break after a disappointing effort the first time he met winners in Saratoga. You know, remember he broke his maiden very nicely in a 1.8 in Saratoga, then came back and just kind of ran a real dud as the favorite. Trainer Mike Hutchin put him on the shelf for a little while. Then he came back the end of October and was a solid third behind Long River. So again, he should benefit from that. He's 2 to 1 the morning line. I have him in my second spot. And for third, I'm going to go down the inside to Go Canes Go. You know, I guess I'm staying a little bit formful in this race. You know, Go Canes Go really ran his eyeballs out last time. Again, he was coming off a layoff, hadn't run since the end of May. Set the pace and just gave away the last part of the race. So again, that was That was a mile race. He's going to run a mile again today. From the inside, you'd expect Edgar Prado to kick him out of there. I think he can hang on for a piece. 5, 4, and 1 in the Belmont 8th race.
9th race today looks like a salty little maiden claimer. $35,000 tag scheduled for the grass, mile and a 16th.
9, 3, and 7 here. The number 9, Aunt Ruby's Kitten. Aunt Ruby's Kitten was favored in his debut when he was running for maiden, 65,000. Had a little bit of a poor start, but he was able to get himself into rhythm quite quickly, got himself into position, but flattened out down the lane. Now he's getting blinkers on. He's getting dropped down by trainer Todd Pletcher. Castellano named down. We know he's not riding, so pay attention to whoever's going to be riding this horse. But I think they'll get somebody that's quite capable. I put Aunt Ruby's Kitten on top. For second, I went down to the inside to number 3, Two-Step Swag. CC Lopez aboard, one thing's for sure. He's going to be sending this one from the one post. And, in his only start of his career, they ran him over at the Meadowlands in a maiden special weight, and he was very close to the pace and faded. You'd have to think he got a lot of conditioning out of that. Gary Contessa is his trainer. Gary doesn't necessarily have them cranked up to win first time out. And like I said, one thing for sure, CC Lopez from the one hole with speed. Expect Two-Step Swag to be out in front, and at 15-1, if he can hold on for a piece, I'd be very, very happy. For third, I have the number 7, Katake. He's exiting the same debut race as Aunt Ruby's Kitten. Ran very evenly that day. He should benefit from the experience. Gets blinkers and Lasix today. 9, 3, and 7, the Aqueduct 9.
And that wraps things up for our look at Aqueduct and Churchill Downs. Plenty of racing action on the network this afternoon. As always, I'll let you read off the screen if you can see it. Our
we
monitor,
can't.
Yeah, with the technical difficulty, our monitor went black. But clearly, Aqueduct Churchill among the tracks today. Finger Lakes will probably be kicking things off. And a light day on the thoroughbred side, but of course, a complement of harness tracks in the evening as well. But go to capitalotv.com. If you didn't get our selections over on the right-hand side of the page, there is, as always, the Handicappers Report link. Nice printable page comes up and allows you to get the selections both Jeff and I made this morning. All right, that's going to wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Thursday morning. Coming up next, Racing Across America. Visit from John DeSilva, racingwithbruno.com. We'll talk some New York racing. And at the bottom of the hour, I have Kevin Modesti from the LA Daily News. We're going to talk a little bit about Hollywood. Last season, just some memories, how it's going to change the Southern California racing landscape. All of that coming up on Racing Across America next. For Seth Merrill, Jeff Carroll, good luck at the races this afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.